is Kashin Koji Jiraiya? Ever since this character appeared in the manga, people have been bugging me, telling me, yo, he is probably Jiraiya just because he has white hair. Like, Kashin Koji is the only character in the series who has white hair. Anyways, here are my reasons why I think Kashin Koji might possibly not be Jiraiya, and the reason why it would be stupid if Kashin Koji was Jiraiya. So let's start with point number 1. So the first thing is his hair texture. Like, are you niggas blind? Can you not see that Kashin Koji's hair texture is different from Jiraiya's one? His one is more relaxed and Jiraiya's one is very spiky. I don't know how people made this connection saying that they have the same hair, when clearly, are you blind, nigga? Can you not see that they don't have the same hair texture? Like, this is so obvious. It's like, how can you miss this? So we know that the third Hokage was the person that trained Jiraiya, right? And we know that he was old as dirt. And by the time Jiraiya got to the age where he started training Naruto, he was old as dirt. This nigga was about like in his 50s or so. And now Naruto is in his 30s, meaning that by this time Jiraiya would be old as dirt. I mean, look at the people who used to be in Danzo's team, the 2 people who tried to help Danzo to become a Hokage. Like, them niggas look half dead already, like it's gonna happen any second. The point is, if Jiraiya was alive, he would look like them basically, and you don't see them moving around and maneuvering like ninjas like they used to back in the day, so Jiraiya most likely won't be able to do that either. On the contrary though, if you look at Kashin Koji, this guy looks like he is young as fuck and is able to maneuver around and do all kinds of stuff that only a young individual will be able to do. So now the question is, why would he wear a mask? And the answer to that is that there are a multitude of reasons why a person would wear a mask. The first reason is to hide their identity. Now, Kashin Koji, if you keep in mind, is an assassin, meaning that it is important for people to not know his face so he can walk in public without anyone recognizing him. That is the first reason for having a mask, not because he is a person that we might know or recognize by seeing his face. For all we know, number 1, Jiraiya is dead, and number 2, his body was trapped underwater in a place which had so much pressure that Kabuto, a person who mastered Sage Mode, was not able to go and retrieve his body, right? So if his body is crushed by pressure, he wouldn't even have a face to put a mask onto, because the pressure would have crushed his entire body. But Cycles, he summoned a toad, and Jiraiya summoned toads, so automatically that must mean he is Jiraiya because he has white hair and summons toads. Well, here is news for you. There are other people who summon toads. Summoning is nothing special. All you have to do is just bite your hand and sign a contract, and boom, you can summon a toad. So anyone can summon toads. It's nothing special. Konohamaru can summon toads. Naruto can summon toads. Heck, even Minato can summon toads. Even the toads themselves can summon toads. So anyone can just go up to the place where they all reside and sign a contract. And if they really wanted to find Kashin Koji, all they needed to do is just to look through the whole list of people who have actually signed a blood contract with the toads, and then they can pinpoint which one is Kashin Koji. Either that or the one he summoned is actually a rogue toad which he found and made a contract with. Because that is possible. You can find an animal and make a contract with it, and Boruto did that with Garaga, so it doesn't have to be professional, it can just be any animal, so that doesn't link Kashin Koji to Jiraiya. But Cycles, he used the Rasengan. Well, the Rasengan isn't that much of a special move, it is just spiraling chakra concentrated in a ball. Konohamaru did it, Kakashi did it. And anyone with good talent can actually create a Rasengan. Even Momoshiki knows the Rasengan, alright? And even though he absorbed the technique, he can still use the Rasengan. And Kashin Koji has enough talent to be able to use the Rasengan. So that doesn't even link him to Jiraiya in the first place, because Jiraiya wasn't the one who invented the Rasengan. It was a technique he learned from his student, and just because he taught Naruto it and is also a Rasengan user doesn't mean that knowing the technique automatically connects you to him. Another reason that proves that this is not Jiraiya is because of the scene where Jiraiya's spirit actually goes and touch Naruto before he leaves and goes to the afterlife. Now, if you do not know what happens to people when they die in Naruto, I've actually made a video which I will link at the end, or at least in the description, so you can check out and get an explanation as to what happens to when a person dies. And the point I'm trying to make here is that their spirit goes on to the afterlife, meaning that it has left the body and has moved on. And if that is the case, then Jiraiya must be actually dead, because his his soul has clearly been split from his body. Now this one is the very popular one. Now if you look at Kashin Koji in one of these panels, it shows that he actually has some facial paint or something around those ends, and people say, oh, that could be Jiraiya because Jiraiya has the same thing. Now the thing is that we don't exactly know what this facial paint looks like. Maybe it is just a little tease to make people think that it is Jiraiya. Maybe the author is trying to mislead you because you haven't seen his face, so you don't exactly know what it is. We don't know what it is. It could be where his karma seal is located, and if you know, all the members of Kara, or most of them based on what we've seen, actually have numerals. Maybe that's where his one is, and because of the way it's positioned and the way the mask shows it, you might probably think, oh, this is probably Jiraiya because of the facial paint. I mean, Jiraiya is not the only person who has facial paint. Look at Kankuro. I mean, if he was to put on a mask, he would definitely look like he could possibly be Kashin Koji. But then again, in the ninja world, there are loads of people who actually wear facial paint. So at the moment, Kashin Koji could be anyone. So now that I've talked about the reasons why I think Kashin Koji is not Jiraiya, let's actually look at a few facts on what we really know about this character. Let's get all things straight. So the first fact is that he knows Konohamaru, Naruto, Mitsuki, Orochimaru, Ao, Sarada, and even Momoshiki. Now obviously he knows Momoshiki because Kara have been, you know, pursuing Momoshiki, as in like they know about him and the karma seal and all that kind of stuff that relates to Momoshiki. Now the fact that he knows Konohamaru, Naruto, Mitsuki, and everyone else in Konoha, we already know based on the manga chapter that recently got released that he has chakra that has been registered by the people who are in charge of the new barrier, meaning that he can go in and out without being detected. So it could potentially mean two things, right? And the first thing that people say is that means that Kashin Koji is actually a citizen of Konoha, and the thing is, he did say that he is fated with the village, but at the same time he is a well-trained assassin, or at least he knows what he's doing. So with the ability to go in and outside of Konoha, it would make sense for him to spy on Naruto and anyone else who is related or connected to Naruto, because Kara is a group which are low-key and they cannot be detected by Naruto because Naruto is one of the strongest people. He poses a threat, and this guy is a top-notch assassin, so it would make sense that he knows all these people and everything about them, because his main job as an assassin is to spy and to kill silently. I mean, look at what Kashin Koji is doing right now in the manga. What is he doing? He is spying on them. And with this habit, how do you not expect him to know all these people from Konoha when he's able to sneak in and out of the way? So the reason why I think it would be stupid if Kashin Koji was actually Jiraiya is that the fact that Jiraiya died, you know, that whole thing was a huge milestone. It was a stepping stone for Naruto to grow as a character, and that is why it was so powerful, because Jiraiya was one of the only people who actually had faith in Naruto, one of the only people who actually stepped up and trained him and spent time with him. He was a father figure, and for him to die and to be resurrected back into Kashin Koji as a person who hates Konoha for no apparent reason, that would actually devalue the whole death of Jiraiya thing, as well as him being the teacher of Konan, Nagato, and Yahiko. That whole thing about the master being killed by the student and the tragic story and creation of Akatsuki happening after would have all just been devalued all at once, because it is one tragic thing leading to another tragic event which leads up to Jiraiya's death, and it's all build up, which makes the story intriguing as well as the character of Jiraiya important. I mean, how do you go from teaching your student and passing on the Rel of Fire to actually spying on your own student and joining a terrorist group which potentially might be a threat to the Land of Fire? The only way I would see Jiraiya as Kashin Koji is if it is explained that Jiraiya low-key lived a secret life, that this whole father figure thing, this whole, you know, being part of Konoha thing was just a huge facade which a lot of Kara members play within other villages, you know, just so they can attack unexpectedly. And if that is the case, then I congratulate them, because they are very persistent and very patient. But who knows, Kashin Koji could be anyone. He could even be Jiraiya's illegitimate son that he must have gotten after fucking a stripper somewhere in a brothel when he got drunk or something in the filler episode. It could be that, but that would kind of be stupid and would degrade Jiraiya as a character. I mean, he stands for so much more than that, so I wouldn't want something like that being the origin story of Kashin Koji, and hopefully it is not, because the current writing of Boruto has not really been impressive, at least to me. But those are my thoughts about Kashin Koji. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. and give me your opinions on who you actually think this person is. Did my video or my opinions manage to convince you that this guy is not Jiraiya? I want to know all that in the comment section down below. With that being said, I have nothing more to say. Check out some of the videos at the end, and bye.